Okay, so let's start for today. So today I'm having the target, like yesterday we have finished with our GSTR 3B. So today we are going to do our GSTR 1. GSTR 1 has both the things, offline and online. We'll be doing both. For GSTR 1, the offline thing is quick as compared to 3B. Ranjita ji saying your password is incorrect. It's your phone number. Might be you have mistaken while typing your phone number. Might be. See, I'm not sure what exactly the issue is. So I'm jotted down all the names. And first thing, I would like all of you who have issues, please write a mail to info@thetaxguruedu.com. Write your mails. They are looking to all of your mails, whatever the issues are, and still you face an issue. I have written the names of the people. So Tax Guru people will connect with you. Okay, so let's start for the class today. It's already, I believe we have 8 minutes gone for the said class. Okay, so the topic for today is GSTR 1. What is GSTR 1? I need answers from you. What is exactly GSTR 1? I need the answers. Okay, so a lot of answers: sale purchase data, return for sales made, sales summary, HSNY sales summary, outward sales. Okay, so fair idea. You people have a fair idea. So basically, GSTR 1 is my sales summary that I am uploading on the portal. Okay, I'm filing it on the portal. So now, why exactly? Again, like yesterday we have discussed that there is 3B is monthly and 3B is quarterly as well, the QRMP scheme. Similarly, GSTR 1 is also monthly and quarterly. If I am a monthly filer who have opted for filing of GSTR 3B on monthly basis, sorry, similar criteria which was there yesterday for the GSTR 3B return filing. So if I have opted for monthly return filing, then I have to file GSTR 1. Deadline for filing GSTR 1 is 11th of the following month. So I am bounded to file my GSTR 1 by 11th of the following month. People do consider one thing. Now, what is happening in the portal? After 11th, the night 12 o'clock, the midnight of 11th, after that, your GSTR 2B gets generated. So if your vendors are filing their monthly return after the 11th of the month, many people are there who file their returns late. So if they are filing late, that data will not come in GSTR 2B. So you won't be able to take the credit for the returns who are filed after the deadline. This was not something which was happening earlier. Okay. Prior to GSTR 2B, I believe you people must be aware that 2B is something, a new concept that has came. Prior to that, what exactly was coming? GSTR 2A. GSTR 2A was coming before 2B. In GSTR 2A, it used to get updated every day. So if your vendors are filing returns late, it used to get updated. Though it was very clearly mentioned in the law that you need to take ITC details from GSTR 2A generated on the very next day of the last date of filing of GSTR 1. So it said that if the last date is 11th, then you need to download GSTR 2A on 12th of the month. Download it and then work on that data. But there was no cut off in 2A. It was a dynamic thing. It used to keep on changing every day with the updation of the data. But 2B is something which was stopped on the 11th of the month. And this data, 2B data, is now getting reflected into my GSTR 3D. So I am getting the ITC details as per GSTR 2B, not 2A. So RK Pradhanji is asking a question that if sale invoices details are provided in late, that is, if any my vendor has filed his return late, can I claim the ITC in the same month or I cannot avail it? RKG, you need to consider one thing, that in my GSTR 3B, what we have done yesterday, okay? So we were working on table 4, that is your ITC table, right? In ITC table, there was a column all other ITC. I told you that in this table, all the data will be getting from GSTR 2B. यहाँ से सारा data आ जाएगा. Now GSTR 2B is taking the data of which date? It is taking the data as updated on 11th. Now, if your vendors have filed their returns late, and if you will take that particular data, you are going to make changes in this column. And I've told you, if you make changes in this column due to reasons which are not permitted by law, you will get a notice. It will be red marked and you will get a notice and you need to define. And as per law also, if we talk legally, you cannot take ITC of the late return filed. So see, people, you need to understand that this is a very practical thing happening in the market. Now, where we talk about big vendors and even small people, if let's suppose your vendors are not filing of the return on time, if they don't file on time, your ITC gets blocked. People are now stopping the payments of their vendors. वो vendors का payment रोक लेते हैं. They are not making the payments on to them on time because their working capital is lost. And I believe this is something right. The vendors should need to understand that return filing should be happening on time. If late filed, their customers are going to suffer and the customers are not making them payment, because of which the vendors are suffering. Okay, so this is how it happens. Quarterly, the date is 13th of the month following the quarter. So let's suppose my quarter ends on, my quarter is ending on this April, May, June, 30th June. So by 13th of July, you are required to file your GSTR 1. This GSTR 1 will contain the details of entire quarter. So in QRMP, GSTR 1 filed, it contains details of the entire quarter. But in QRMP, there is one more option given. See what happened. If I'm going to file my GSTR 1 quarterly for the month of April, May, whatever B2B invoices I am raising, obviously I'm raising B2B, they don't get reflected in GSTR 2B of my customer. My customer will be at loss. They will stop my payment. I won't be getting the payment. So what option the government has given is that IFF. You need to fill up the IFF form if you have B2B customers. Okay, if you have B2B customers, every month you are going to make the payments through the challan, which we have seen yesterday, either in fixed installment method or the self-assessment method. We are going to make the payments. Secondly, the IFF box is opened in my portal and we can accordingly upload the B2B invoices over there. Okay, only for the B2B invoices. Nandini is asking, what is IFF? Nandini, IFF is an alternative for the GSTR 1 for the quarterly return filers. Only the quarterly return filers. IFF has to be filled by 27th of the following month. Okay, but prefer filling it by 11th so that the people get the credit in their portals. Through the IFF form, the quarterly return filers can send the data, the credit things through GSTR to be of their customers. Okay, so wait, I have few questions right now. Let me see what all questions have come. Okay, so Bhagwan Singh ji has asked that what is exactly the use of GSTR 2A? Can we take this ITC after? Okay, Bhagwan Singh ji's question is what is exactly the use of 2A? Bhagwan Singh ji, prior to GSTR 2B, it was a 2A which was on the portal, 2B was not there. 2B has started coming for last 6-7 months. So 2A reflects all the ITC. All the ITC, when I say, there can be your vendors who have started filling their GSTR1 but have not submitted it. So once you upload the invoice details in your GSTR1, it gets reflected in your 2A. But till the time it is not submitted, it will appear as a not submitted, not final data in your 2A. So it is going to appear in your 2A, but you are not eligible to take that ITC. So that will be bifurcated in 2B. 2B will show only those ITC which are available to you legally. So 2A will show all the ITC. 2B is a filtration of the ITC, the eligible ITC. So in the 2A, you can see that, okay, this is the vendor who has uploaded my details but has not submitted his return. In the 2A, there is a column which talks about the submission details. Okay, over there you are able to see that they have not filed the return. Accordingly, you can have a communication with your vendors that please file your return so that I can get the credits. Now, RK Pradhanji is saying that can we take this ITC after vendor has filed return after due date or not? RK Pradhanji, if the vendor has filed the return after due date, of course you can take the ITC, but not in that month. Since they are filing after the due date, so that ITC will flow in the next month. And 2B is very clever in that sense. So the GSTR 2B, if they have taken the cutoff as 11th, so that is 11th for the next month, they are going to take the ITC from the 12th to the next 11th. So the ITC which is left owing to vendor's fault of filing the return late will automatically get displayed in your next 2B. Okay. Sushma ji is asking, does GSTR1 filed after 11th by the vendor, does it reflect in second one to be? Yes, Sushma ji, I answered the same question. Okay. Rupal ji, I think your question is answered. Satyan is asking, should we consider GSTR 2A or 2B for filing GSTR 1 return? Satyan ji, for GSTR 1, we are not required to consider 2A or 2B. It is for 3B, we need to consider 2B. So 3B ke liye 2B, not 2A. 2A nahi dekhna. You don't need to consider 2A. From 2A, you can get the data, what exactly is not filled till date. Okay. Veena ji is asking that whether IFF is optional. Yes, Veena ji, IFF is optional. It's not mandatory. It depends upon your customer. You need to see what kind of customers you are catering to. You are a quarterly return filing. So your turnover is below 5 CR. Okay. 5 CR turnover is not small. It's a huge turnover. If you are making B2B sales, right? There are customers who want their credit. If the credit won't flow to them on time, they can stop your payments. So through IFF, you can mark it out. These are my B2B customers. These are the details and uploading it, and they will get their data in 2B. Okay. Sayali ji is asking, in QRMP scheme, monthly payment is compulsory. Yes, Sayali. Please consider the fact, see, government is not going to anyhow lose its revenue. Consider that thing. This is a huge loss to the government. If they say that in QRMP scheme, make the payments quarterly, the government will be at huge loss. Talking about people having turnover less than 5 crore, majority of the people are less than 5 CR. Okay, so there is monthly payment. Then Subhaji, yes, Subhaji is saying he has got this thing that we are not losing the ITC. Only thing is that it gets delayed for the month. Correct, Subhaji. But Subhaji, consider the gravity of the law. If you are losing your ITC and it is getting delayed for a period of 1 month, talk about small vendors. It's a huge amount, right? It's a huge amount. It hits their working capital. Agar if you are going to hold my 2 lakhs ITC, it's a huge amount for me, right? Alaguji is saying that is it mandatory to take ITC as per 2B or it can be taken as per books? Alaguji, now it is mandatory to take your ITC as per GSTR 2B. Are you people aware about this rule 636.4? Tell me yes or no. Do we know about this rule 36.4? I need some answers. Then I'll explain it. Why 2B is important. Okay. Okay. I get your answer. People don't know about this rule. So this rule, I believe it came in 2019, approximately in October 2019. This rule got implemented. I'm telling you the figures of the current rule. I'm not going into the past because it has changed from 20% to 10% and now it is 5%, and I'm hoping it will get changed to 0% very soon. So what this rule says? This rule says while filing your GSTR 3B for every month, first check your GSTR 2B. It says check your 2B. My actual ITC for, we are talking about June 21, okay? My June 21, my actual ITC as per books stands at 1 lakh rupees. Okay, this is my actual ITC. Now, ITC as per 2B for June is coming out to be 60,000. Okay, fine. Now, what 36.4 says is that out of 1 lakh, 60,000 is your eligible ITC. You are eligible to take this ITC. 40,000, which is not appearing on 2B because my vendor's name, my vendors have not filed the return, is ineligible ITC. So how much ITC can we take for the month of June will be eligible, that is 60,000 plus 5% of 60,000, that is kitna hua 5% of 60,000? 3,000. So total will be 60 plus 3, 63,000. This is the ITC that I can claim as per rule 36.4. You have to make all these calculations. See, understand. Please do make all these calculations very clearly in your Excel working sheets. Please do mention GST wise, don't take totos. Make it GST wise, IGST, CGST, SGST, सबके लिए अलग अलग बनाना है, एक में नहीं बनाना है. अलग अलग बनाएंगे IGST, CGST and SGST. Actual ITC, then take the figures. This is as per GSTR 2B, 5% extra. This is the ITC you are taking. Side by side, I'll also let you know the treatment in books. The treatment in books that you are required to do. So in your ITC ledger, ITC credit ledger, when you are booking the purchases, just 1 minute, people, just 1 minute. So the treatment in books, when we are talking about the treatment in books, ITC credit ledger, you must be booking all the purchases. Your purchases, the ITC credit ledger that you have booked in books must be 1 lakh, right? So there is a debit balance of 1 lakh which is appearing in your book, right? Then as per rule 36.4, you are eligible to claim 63,000. Now what you will do, you will take the credit of 63,000 and you will transfer balance 37,000 to ineligible ITC ledger. Don't keep it in your credit ledger, because if you will keep it in your credit ledger, next month you will get confused that what is the credit you want to look for. So you will shift it into the ineligible ITC ledger. So now for the month of July, let's suppose out of this 37,000, the balance 25,000 or the entire 37,000 appears in your portal, right? Then you can take that ITC in the next month. Getting my point? So treatment in books is also different for this rule 36.4, and the books should be treated very properly in that rule. And when you are making your reconciliations for the annual return, these have to be very clearly mentioned that what is the basis you have taken the ITC, what is ineligible ITC, why you have not taken, which all bills were not getting reflected on the portal. It's a complex task. So what Veena ji is asking is that RCM credit should be included in eligible ITC. Veena ji, RCM credit, the thing you are paying in 9.3 and then you are taking the credit, it won't get flow through 2B until unless 9.3 vendors are those who are registered. So that will come on the portal, right? Then Satyen ji is asking, should we utilize June 21 ITC in July GSTR 3B return? I'm not getting your point, Satyanji. For June 21, we will file our return by 20th July. Now, if some ITC of June does not appear in June 2B, then it will get reflected in July 2B. So when it gets reflected in July 2B, we will utilize it in July 3B return. Okay. Getting 36.4, I believe I have made you clear. So this was something we were discussing this only, rule 36.4. We went for QRMP scheme. We talked about GSTR 1. Okay. So now if we will see, this is the PPT. So there are 3 PPTs for today, which I'll be sharing. So 3 PPTs talk about everything on GSTR 1. So first PPT will talk about, now GSTR 1 I have divided into 2 parts. The basic info and the other info. So first PPT talks about the basic info, second about other info, and third PPT talks about offline filing. So we'll be sharing 3 things with you. This is the entire thing that I have talked with you rightly. If you can see the why offline tool I need to consider in GSTR 1, like yesterday also I've told you, for 3B it is up to you. You want to do the filing through offline utility or through the online utility. But in GSTR 1, sometimes it becomes mandatory for you to go through the offline utility. Why? Because the online GSTR 1 option will take only 500 entries. That is 500 invoices for a month, not beyond that. If you have more than 500, you have to do it through offline utility. No option available to you. So mandatorily have to be done by offline utility. And even for the people, like sometimes it happens with you that you need to do a scrutiny or you need to determine what has been filed in GSTR 1, and the people having more than 500 transactions, you can't do anything on the portal. You have to download the GSTR 1 and then only you can see what has been filed or what has not been. Okay. Getting? So this is something on the PPT side. We are going on the portal right now. I'm going to take you on the direct things so that you can see exactly how the portal works. Okay, again, I'm using my login. Let me just take out the login informations. Mm. Okay. So similarly, that same return dashboard, I'll go through the return dashboard. It's Q2 जुलाई. नोटिस किया कल तक यहाँ पे सिर्फ जुलाई का ऑप्शन आ रहा था, आज अगस्त का भी ऑप्शन आ गया. Please notice, these are the small things we need to notice. The change, because from today it's 1st of August, so you have started getting option for 1st of August. But if you will see August, it's only GSTR 1 that is visible to you. So there are some people who keep on updating their invoices side by side, so this option gets open. And now for July, see 3B is open. Kal tak nahi tha, it was not yesterday, today it's open. Okay? Okay. And somebody was asking, is 2A available? See, this is 2A, that is visible. This is 2B. Okay, that is also visible. But they are not updated till yet. There is no use of seeing this 2A, 2B right now. I'll show you for the previous months. Because for the month of July, still the GSTR ones have not been filed. So they won't be updated right now. So 2A and 2B would be still different. Okay. R.K. Pradhanji is asking some question about exports. Pradhanji, we are going to deal with it. Just have some patience. It is going to come in the GSTR1 things. So once you come into this GSTR1, I have clicked on it. So when I go on this online filing thing, wait a minute, I need to just hide some things. My screen is not visible. Okay. Okay. So this is your GSTR1. It gives all the details, the return period, the financial status, what is the due date. It is also saying that e-invoice advisory, what does the advisory is? If the invoices are more than 500, you cannot do through online utility. You have to download the offline utility and then only you will be able to do that. Okay. So there are, let's count how many boxes to be filled. 3, 6, 9, 10, 10, 13, 16, 19. So in total, there are 19 boxes in GSTR1 which are required to be filled. So the very first box, it talks about B2B invoices. See, the GST portal is very user friendly. You won't find any issues while working on the GST portal. Read it and write it. It becomes very easy for you to upload the data in this. So we are going for the very first box, that is B2B invoices. Let's side by side, let's discuss what is B2B, what is B2C, what is B2CL. We'll discuss this point by point. So when I talk about B2B invoices, that is your business to business. When I say business to business, registered. I am registered. I'm rendering a service to another registered person. Who is a registered person under GST? When I have a GSTIN and I am eligible to raise a tax invoice. B2B invoices will consider my tax invoices, not bill of supplies. Okay, I'm mentioning my GSTINs, the supplies which I'm going to make to registered people, that is my B2B invoices. No, there is no taxable value limit on this. It can be of 10 rupees, it can be of 10 lakhs, it can be of crore, whatever is the amount. Okay, so this is the B2B. I can go inside that. There is an option import EWB data. What is EWB? EWB is e-way bill data. So my GST portals are linked with my e-way bills and with my e-invoicing portals. These portals, e-way bill and e-invoicing, we are going to cover in the next class. We will see how the e-way bills are raised, how the e-invoicing is done. So the e-way bills are what? E-way bills are, if I'll talk about e-way bills. Any idea what are e-way bills? People tell me, what are e-way bills? Pick up, people. Electronic way bills while transmitting of goods, transporter of goods from one place to another, right? So basically for transporting the goods, you need to have the e-way bills. Sushma ji is telling me limits. Sushma ji, there are limits depending upon the state, then depending upon it is interstate or it is intrastate. Okay, so let's talk about Delhi. If I'll say the limits for Delhi, Delhi limit says 1 lakh intrastate and interstate 50,000. So if I have to make a sale of rupees 1 lakh within Delhi, up to 1 lakh, I'm not bounded to raise a e-way bill, but if it is above 1 lakh, I am bounded to raise a e-way bill. My transporter will carry my e-way bill and my tax invoice. Without that, the goods cannot move from one place to another. Similarly, if it is interstate, above 50,000 value of goods, they have to be supported by the e-way bills. So when I'm doing a business and my transactions are like this, so I'm required to raise my e-way bills. Now what the GST portal will do, GST portal will link the data from the e-way bill portal, whatever e-way bills I have raised. You will see in the next class, e-way bills contains the same data as that of your tax invoices. We are mentioning each and everything. So that data will automatically get uploaded in your GSTR 1 data. So it's a matching concept what the GST portal is doing so that you don't miss out things, or in actual it's to catch the frauds. Okay, billing is happening but the goods are not moving. People must be aware this is something very common in the market. People keep on issuing the bills but there is no such actual sales happening. It's just the entry thing which is happening. So you need to have a proper e-way bill supporting your sales bill. Second, I think you people must be aware that now on when you are moving on the road, this fast tag thing has come into existence. Do people know about fast tag? What is fast tag? Can I have some answers? For toll. Fast tag. So now what has happened when you are traveling on the highways, earlier you were required to make the payments for the toll taxes. You used to make the payments in cash. You used to cross the toll. They just used to mention what is the car number and they used to charge you the toll taxes and you made the payment. Now for last 3 years, it was a huge drive that has been undertaken by the government that you need to have fast tags on your cars or trucks, whatever. So it's like a card affixed on your car's windshield. When you cross the toll, it automatically deducts the amount of toll tax from you. So now what has happened? Everything, this cash transaction has been bought on the electronic portal. Now everything is online. Now the GST department has entered into a kind of MOU thing with the FASTag people. Now they will get all the information about which vehicle was moving on the road at which time. Another stronghold on the frauds. Now, if you are issuing an invoice and then you are issuing an e-way bill mentioning the specific truck details, that we'll study in the next class, what details are mentioned in the e-way bills. If you have mentioned that this ABCD truck has taken my goods on this date to this place, they will check it from the FASTag data that whether that truck was actually moving or not. So See, understand the gravity. The government is now determining the ways through which whatever frauds people are likely to do gets controlled. Okay, so don't suggest your clients, like people do, they raise invoices, they even generate e-way bills, but there is no actual movement. Now it will get caught. Okay, so let's move inside this box. That is B2B receiver wise summary. It's empty right now because nothing has been mentioned. So I'll click on add details. So when I say add details, I am eligible to make the entry for every bill. Whatever details are mentioned over here, whatever, when you go on the offline utility, the similar details will be mentioned over here. Okay. So what it says that you need to first tell me that what exactly the kind of sale it is. Is it deemed export? Is it SEZ supplies with payment? Is it SEZ supplies without payment? Intrastate supplies attracting IGST? Is it a supply attracting reverse charge? Is it a deemed export? Is it the supply eligible to tax at a differential percentage of the existing rate of tax as notified by the government? If it is any one of them, you need to follow it. You need to tick it, and accordingly it will take the data. Okay. Can I have any GST number? I remember my GST number only. It's my portal, so I can't feed it in my portal. Any GST number, I'll feed it there. People, any GST number do you have? Okay, so I've got one GST number. I'm going to mention it. Is it wrong? There is something wrong in this. I've mentioned 27 AAN FN 0198 F1Z. Sushma ji, this is not right. Okay, another one I have got HFC 4739 R1ZQ. Okay. So as soon as you write the GST number and press tab, it will show me what is the receiver name. So whatever is the registered name with this particular GSTIN will get highlighted over here. Just need to type that. See the star mark, these are mandatory fields. You cannot opt out that I won't be filling this data. Okay, then you need to mention your invoice number. Please make sure the invoice number which you are mentioning is the same as you have mentioned on your tax invoice. Everyone have a different methodology based on which they raise their tax invoice numbers. Please take the same numbers. If there is a difference even of hash, hyphen, slash, your customers can come back and say that the invoice number is not matching. So you need to understand why this is happening. Nowadays, people are having softwares to do the 2A 2B reconciliation. The 2A 2B reconciliation highlights the differences, and even if there is a difference in the invoice number in terms of hash, slash, not exactly the number, it will get highlighted and it won't take the ITC. So people face a lot of problems because of which avoid it. So let me write any invoice number. Hopefully that is not the one which is already issued. I'm just writing something. Let's take it 050. Okay, I'll mention my invoice number, then I'll mention the invoice date. We are talking about, this is July return we are talking about, so I am taking the data as, okay. Now by default, the GSTIN number was 27. By default, it will take the place of supply as Maharashtra. Thoda sa, I'll just give you a thoda idea that we are basically over here learning the compliances. What the law says is that, if you people know, have you seen this bill to ship to bills? What is bill to ship to kind of invoices? If you people are aware, then it will be very easy for me to explain you that the place of supply can be different. You know, bill to ship to, what is the bill to ship to model? Okay. So what exactly is the bill to ship to thing? I'll tell you. Okay. Just take a common example. Very common example आप लोग कर भी रहे होंगे. I have my registered office address in East Delhi. If I take that, if it is in East Delhi, but I want to get the items shipped to directly to my customer, one option, or directly to my another branch which is in South Delhi. This can happen, right? So what I'll give him the address for bill to, that is on whom GSTIN the credit should flow. So let's suppose I'm giving it my registered office address. The billing will be made in my name, registered office address. Let's suppose it's the state code is 07. Now I'm going to give ship to the delivery address where the goods have to be delivered. Now this delivery address can be South Delhi. I'll get the credits, no issue, because the place of supply is the same. But let's suppose if my delivery address is Gurgaon, right? Then the place of supply becomes Haryana. Getting my point? In GST law, if I go to the very basics of GST law, what it says, GST has to be charged on the basis of what? Place of supply. So whatever is your place of supply, you will charge the GST on that basis. It will not depend upon where the billing is made. It will depend upon where the place of supply is. This is the very basic concept of GST. What is the GST you need to charge? It will depend upon the place of supply. So if it is my Haryana address, how will it get displayed on the portal? So I'll say, let's suppose this is a bill of Maharashtra, but I'm making the supply to Goa. So I'll mention here the place of supply is Goa. And when I mention this, and I have mentioned this GSTIN number, this person will not be able to take the credit off on this GSTIN number. If he has a GSTIN number in Goa, he will be able to take the credits. Now, if I'll fill the bill, this sale invoice details like this on the GST portal. So when this Amber Home will view its GSTR to be, it won't be eligible to take this credit. So it won't come into his or her portal. Getting? It will come only if the place of supply is Maharashtra. Okay. Then you need to mention your total invoice value. What is your total invoice value? I'm taking an example of a lakh rupees bill along with 18,000 GST. Lakh rupees, oh sorry, I'll mention 118. This is my total invoice value. By default, it is automatically taken. It is an intrastate supply or an interstate supply. This is entire rate column. In which rate you fall, you need to just type in the taxable value in that rate. So we are in the rate of 18%. I'm going to mention 1 lakh rupees. It will take the GST value on its own. I don't need to mention it. So isme there is one practical issue I believe you must be facing. When you fill the GSTR 3B and when you fill GSTR 1, sometimes you get differences of points or some rupees, 20 rupees, 10 rupees. Why that difference is generating? When you fill your GSTR 3B, you are taking the data from the whatever software or the ERP the client has installed at his or her place, or the tally data. Over there, we can give the instructions of rounding up, that you need to round up the GST numbers, SGST and CGST. We do rounding. But when this GSTR1 is filled, you fill the taxable value only. It automatically calculates the tax value. And on the GST portal, the rounding is done on the total data fed. It won't do the rounding entry wise. Whatever is the total data, let's suppose you are going to fill 100 entries or 200 entries, it will take the total And then whatever is the final number, it will do the rounding of that data. So that is why if in the 3B, while filing the 3B, you are using the rounding on every invoice, you will be facing an issue of this mismatch of 3-4 rupees, 5 rupees or 10 rupees. One's data is more accurate as compared to your 3B data when I talk about the GST on the sales. Okay. So Sunita ji is asking a question regarding to that bill to ship to model, that billing is done on that person, so ITC should be eligible for him. Sunita ji, now understand the very basic concept of GST. What the law said initially, that if you are a person who is liable to be registered under GST, the GST has to be done state-wise. GST registration, the basic concept which says, if you have 3 units all over India, 3 states, Goa, Delhi, Punjab, okay, and I'll see your turnover pan-India based. This we have discussed in last class. My pan-India based is more than 20 lakhs. I'm liable to register. So when I'm liable to register, I have to register all my places. I cannot say that this place has a turnover of less than 20 lakhs, I won't get registered. I have to get registered all my places. Now what I'm doing, I'm taking the bill on Delhi address and I'm getting the delivery done at Goa address, which is not registered. If it would have been registered, I would have given the details of Goa only, right? So the government says, now this is a default you are incurring. When the law says you need to get registered, you're not getting registered. Why should I give you the credits? That is one scenario regarding which you are asking the question. When it is my own registration place. Okay. Let's come back on the portal. Once I do this, I'm saying save. This transaction will get saved over here. Okay. I would like to have one more GSTIN number. एक और GSTIN number चाहिए मुझे. So this is 27 AAOFC 5259 R1 ZI. Oh, typed it. So this is Cinema Forever. Okay, I'm just writing the invoice number. So I'm writing it as 0051. Total invoice value as 2,36,000. Date of the invoice as okay. So this is the invoice added. Let's do back. This is a pending invoice. Validation is happening. If I do refresh, still validation is happening. The portal is taking its time. See, the number is 1 only right now because what is happening? The second invoice is not yet updated on the portal. So that is why it is showing me only 1. Why there is an issue in this? So if you will go to that invoice, it will show me the invoice number and I have actions also available now. Edit, if I want to edit something, and this deletion options is available on the portal. So if I'll go on the edit thing, okay, D221, I don't know, I have committed. It's still in that stage of processing. So if I'll change it as Delhi, Arshad ji has asked me to change it to Delhi. So when I'm changing it to Delhi, see, it's an intra-state transaction for me. get that thing. So I'll be charging CGST and SGST, not IGST. And once I change it to Maharashtra, where is it? It becomes interstate. This becomes IGST. If it is Delhi, it becomes CGST and SGST. Because my place of supply is now in Delhi. Okay, so I'm changing it here to lakhs and save. It's still pending, still coming in pending invoices in progress. Okay, now this is a processed invoice. I'll go back and I'm back. Wait a minute. Sometimes portal works slowly. ये चीज ना आप ध्यान भी रखना. My suggestion, what happens is that sometimes when we are working on GSTR1, it creates a lot of issues. The portal is working slow, the data don't get updated properly. In the summary boxes, this is a kind of summary box for me. If it does not displays me the right number, I have currently uploaded 2 invoices detail. Okay. If it does not highlights me the proper number, please don't proceed. Please don't file your return because you are going to end up filing wrong datas. Okay. ये हो चुका है मेरे साथ practical experience. Last date of filing of returns, somehow this summary table was not showing me the correct data and I ended up filing the wrong returns. I thought I have already filled up the data inside. It is appearing inside, then why should I worry? But it's an area of worry. So it's only one invoices it is being showing, though earlier the second invoice got processed, but it is not appearing here. So what happens is that it is not getting appeared. Okay. Now it is showing me 2 processed invoices. These 2 invoices which have been uploaded. But outside, when I'm coming more outside, it is showing me only 1 invoice. So there is an issue with the portal. Why I actually wanted to show you over here is right now is that whenever you have multiple GSTIN, depending upon your customer, over here in the processed invoices, it will show the details receiver wise. Receiver wise means, let's suppose to a particular GSTIN, I'm raising 5 invoices in a month. So it will show the receiver details, number of invoices 5, total value and total things. So it would be GSTIN wise, I'll be getting the details. I believe there is some issue with the portal. So let's wait, it will come on. We'll work on it. So in the summary table, what it will show the number of invoices you have uploaded, 1, 2, 3, 4, 100, whatever is the number, the total value, your total taxable value and tax liability. The total tax liability over here does not bifurcate into CGST, SGST. It's the total thing that you will get. Okay, let's see, we are working on this data right now. It will get updated in a while. Now then next is B2C large invoices. Now what is B2C large invoices? Sales made to unregistered customers. What is unregistered? Who don't have a GST number and the value is more than 2.5 lakhs. Okay, so the unregistered customers to whom I'm making the sales and the value is more than 2.5 lakhs, for them bill wise detail is required to be mentioned. Okay, bill wise details will go there. So we'll go inside this box, no invoices to get displayed. I'll say add details. Okay, is the supply eligible to taxed at a different percentage of the existing rate of tax? अगर differential percentage पे है, आप ऐसी कोई transaction कर रहे हो जो government ने notify करी है, then please tick it. Otherwise no. Then place of supply, क्योंकि आपके पास GSTIN number तो है ही नहीं यहाँ पे, तो place of supply के basis पे आपका यहाँ पे taxation वो determine करता है. Let's suppose I mention Haryana. I'll mention my invoice number. My invoice number 52. Date of invoices this. By default, it has taken interstate because I've mentioned Haryana. Total invoice value, I'm mentioning 59. Oh, it's 2.5 lakhs. Remember, this is large invoices. So I'm taking total invoice value as 3 lakh पे 18%. कितना हुआ? 54,000. 354,000. So I've raised a bill of 3 lakhs. Information will get displayed here and save. Still, this is in pending invoices. I believe the portal is working a little bit slow today. Okay, now this is processed. So invoice date, invoice value, everything comes here. See, I think the portal is not working properly today. It's not here. When it will get processed, it will get appear here 1. Okay, then there is credit note and debit notes. I want to know what exactly are credit notes and debit notes? What do you people understand with this particular concept? When are the situations we issued credit notes and what are the situations we issue debit note? Some answers. So Satyanji is saying adjustment in invoices, sales return for credit note issued to customers in case of returns. Sales return I'm getting, purchase return. Sunita ji, purchase return, you are mentioning purchase return. How come the purchase return data will come in my GSTR 1? Sayali ji is saying that debit note is for purchase return. Sayali ji, debit note can come in case of sales also. GSTR 1 is nowhere dealing with my purchase data. It's only a sales summary. Okay. Alaguji is saying additional invoice. What additional invoice? Partha, you are correct. In case of price reduction, credit note. Satyan is saying customer credit note for rate difference. Okay. Rough idea with everyone. Let's proceed on that. So what exactly is credit note? And then there is debit note. Correct? On sales return, if there is sales return, my goods are coming back, I'll issue a credit note. If there is a downward revision, in my rates, I'll do a credit note. Whatever may be the reason, I am reducing my prices. I am reducing my sales value. I have to issue a credit note. Many people for discounts also issue credit note. Okay. Debit note. In sales, the debit notes are issued as supplementary invoices. Majorly, the reason for issuing of debit note in sales is your supplementary invoices. Let's suppose I have a deal with my customer and POs, that is purchase orders, were raised at the rate of 5 rupees per unit. I'm going to do the work for them. Now down the year, they decided that they will raise my rate from 5 to 6. So 1 rupees is the additional income that I'm going to have. So for this 1 rupees, for all the invoices which have been raised in the previous period, I'll raise a debit note. Supplementary bill for 1 rupees. I think till 5-6 months back, it was difficult to raise the credit notes and debit notes because they were required to be issued on the basis of each invoices raised. There has to be a linking, invoice to invoice linking. If I have raised 10 invoices and I have to raise a debit note with reference to all those 10 invoices, then debit notes have to be raised 10 debit notes against of 10 invoices. But now it has been eased. Now you can raise a debit note against 10 invoices in one single debit note. So invoice to invoice matching has been eliminated now. See, I was facing this difficulty because I have clients who raises in a month debit notes relating to 1,000 invoices. 1,000 debit notes they had to issue. It was actually creating a lot of trouble for them. So now this is a welcome change on the portal. There is no invoice to invoice matching. Sunita ji is very correct in saying that debit note increases your GST liability. Yes, because this is increasing my sales. So it will increase my GST liabilities. And people, please do make sure in the debit notes, you are not going to enter the debit notes relating to purchases. GSTR 1 is totally a sales summary. You are going to mention the invoices, the debit notes or the credit notes relating to sales only, not the purchases. So this is one thing what people are generally following in the market. So I have a sales return. Okay. Let's suppose this is A, made a sales to B of lakh rupees, some items. I'm talking about goods. Now this B has to do the return of items. Okay, so there is one option. I'll raise a credit note of this return. But sometimes what is happening, B is raising a tax invoice. Very practical issue I'm telling, which is exactly happening in the market. People are not doing as per the law. So what they will do, B will issue a tax invoice. On the basis of that, this tax invoice, these lakh rupees items will flow back to me. So if I have received a tax invoice, please don't issue a credit note. They have issued a tax invoice. Either what they should have done, I'm making a lot of maps here. So if they issue a debit note, so their debit note will be debit note relating to purchase. If they issue a debit note relating to purchase, then it is mandatory for me to issue credit note. It is mandatory. As per law, issuance of a credit note against a debit note is mandatory. You cannot avoid it. But if they issue a tax invoice, you can't issue a credit note. If you do that, it will hit your GST things twice. Because this tax invoice, they will upload in their GSTR 1 and it will get reflected into my T2B, right? So if it gets reflected into my 2B, it will increase my ITC. My liability of GST will get reduced because of increased ITC. And again, if you issue a credit note, this is a double impact in the system. On the one side, you will be reducing your GST liability by raising the credit note. And on the second time, you are taking that tax invoice ITC through TB again 2B and again reducing your GST liability. Double impact on the reduction, which is legally wrong. And here the revenue will lose its income. They will of course come with a notice. So please make sure how you are accounting the sales return and what your customer is doing. Higher end customers, if I'll talk about the big industries, they are following the practice of tax invoices. Because earlier, before 6-7 months, when it was mandatory to issue debit note and credit note, invoice to invoice matching was there, these big people, these giant industries adopted the method of raising tax invoice. So they were saved from the task of raising multiple debit notes or multiple credit notes. Okay, so people are asking me to repeat again. You people now get this fact. What is sales return? A makes sales to B. Now B returns the good. Two methodology by which the goods can be returned in terms of documentation. A will issue credit note with reference to debit note issued by B. This is a purchase debit note. This is not a sales debit note, it's a purchase debit note issued by B. So A will mandatorily issue a credit note. B will issue tax invoice. So when B will issue tax invoice, A will not issue credit note because the GST accounting is done through this tax invoice. It will reduce my GST liability, so I will not be raising credit note. इसका फिर हम बुक्स में एडजस्टमेंट एंट्रीज पास करते हैं. We take the credits through the tax invoices what B has raised. We take the credits and then we pass general entries and convert this purchase into sales return because this is a sales return. And then reconciliations are required to be made that why there is no GST on the sales return and all those things. Okay. So this third box, it talks about credit and debit notes registered. That is for your B2B suppliers. If there are any debit or credit notes, you need to mention it here. So I'll click on add details. GSTIN number. Amber Home, can you please type your GSTIN number again? It's lost in the chats. I want it again. Amber Home, because I am trying to raise the credit note with respect to that only. Amber Home, निमिष जी आपका था? I'm confused. Okay, let's see. 27 AA HFC 4739 1ZQ. No, what error I have done? 27 AA HFC 4739. There is one digit missing, निमिष जी. 39 के बाद एक alphabet आएगा. There must be some alphabet after 39. HFC 4R. Okay. So I think I raised the invoice number 50 on Amber Home. So it is asking me first tell me the debit note or credit note number. So let's suppose I'm raising a credit note and the number is 1. Date is 25th July 2021. It is asking what kind of note this is. I'm saying it's a credit note. And I think I've raised an invoice of lakh rupees on you, lakh plus GST. So note value I am giving as 59,000. आधे का bill आपने agree नहीं किया. Nimish ji did not agree with my bill. And he said that, madam, I'm not going to pay you lakh rupees. I'm going to pay you 50,000 only. So for the balance 50,000, I'm raising a credit note. The place of supply is same, Maharashtra. And I am going to raise a credit note and we get saved. So this is the change which has happened. I'll show you again in edit. Earlier, there was again a separate column over here which used to ask, please tell me the invoice number with respect of which you are raising this credit note. Invoice to invoice matching was there. Now this has been eliminated. Now for multiple invoices, I can raise a single credit note and it's not even asking me to do the matching principle. So it has made my life easy. So what I generally suggest to my clients is that if you are raising, let's suppose debit note, the supplementary invoices, that debit note relates to 1000 bills or 500 bills. Make an annexure in Excel, entire working, invoice number, the date, the party name, the amount, and the raise in the value. Make that annexure in Excel and then take the totals and raise one debit note. Okay, these are practical knowledges. See, people, I want you people to get that practical thing in your kitty, not only the theoretical thing. This is how you need to deal with your clients. Okay, similarly, you can add your this credit debit notes detail. I'm still wondering why the portal is working so slow today. Still it is showing 1 and it's showing 0 and this is 0. See, this is the irony of our GST portal. It's working so slow. And now we are struggling on our income tax portal. Okay. So similarly, there is debit credit notes for the unregistered people. The unregistered details, the way we have added the detail for the registered. Similarly, if you have to write the debit credit note details for the unregistered, it is asking that you want to enter a debit credit note for B2CL, that is your high value transactions with unregistered people, 2.5 lakhs. If we want to do for exports with payment or exports without payment. Okay. Why it is showing the exports in unregistered tab? Any answer? Why this is coming in unregistered tab? No GSTIN. Right. Mr. Ganeshji has given me this answer. No GSTIN. Very correct. Exports with payment and exports without payment. So it is an unregistered person. We are making sales outside Indian territory. They don't have a GSTIN in India. So if you want to raise a debit credit note with respect to exports, you would mention that and the details will come here. If you have done with payment, if you have done without payment, then the information will come here. Okay, you can feed it in a similar manner. So this is your B2B, large invoices, credit debit notes, unregistered. Now we will come to the export invoices. So before taking that, let's take a break for 10 minutes. I believe the time is right now 9:19. So we'll take a break. It's 9:19. We will meet back exactly at 9:30. Okay, just be back sharp on time. Sorry. Okay, so we'll start again. Yeah, hello people. So back from your tea break. Yeah. So the weather here outside, it's very amazing. It's raining. So after the class, I'll think I'll go for a cup of tea along with pakoras. Okay. So let's move forward. Oh, it's logged out. I need to log in again. Wait a minute. So Nandini is asking a question that in B2C, large invoices, total sales limit is 2.5 lakhs, or for single unregistered customer above 2.5 lakhs. So Nandini, this is for single bill. If you have raised a single bill of more than rupees 2.5 lakhs for an unregistered customer, then you are required to upload the details in this B2CL. See, now the things have been updated. It is showing me 2 invoices. This is B2C large, 1 invoices and 1 credit note. Acha. Notice one thing in this credit debit note thing. What is going to come in the summary? It would be the net of debit and credit note. So debit note is a positive number which will increase your liability, and credit note is a negative number which is going to reduce your liability. So the figure what is going to come over here is net of figure. Okay. Okay, then let's come to the export invoices. This is a kind of thing which it tells as a warning signal to you. What does it says is that when you are doing export of goods, and that too with payment of taxes, goods first condition with payment of taxes. So what will happen is that it will get flows to your IceGate portal, which is linked with your customers, with your GST portal, sorry. So whatever information you are going to feed in the GST portal, that will flow into your IceGate portal. IceGate portal also receive the data from the customs. So if both the informations matches, they will issue you the refunds. And from the IceGate, refunds come automatically. You don't need to do anything. So you have to make sure that your data that you have fed into the export of goods with payment of taxes have to be fed properly. You can't even miss out any single detail on that. Nimish is asking, please explain stock transfer invoice in GSTR1. Nimish, there is nothing specific format for stock transfer in GST. For me, stock transfer, let's suppose I am having a unit in Delhi and I'm having another GST number in Mumbai. I am a dealer of goods and I am transferring my goods from Delhi unit to Maharashtra unit. It's a kind of sale, a normal tax invoice. I have a GST number for Maharashtra as well. So normal जो हमने first box में भरा था, tax invoice की details, B2B sales, it is a B2B sales. You will enter your Maharashtra GSTI number, normal invoice details, that's all. There is nothing specific for stock transfer. Okay. Then Ganesh Subramaniam ji is asking that what to do with the credit note of unregistered person. That was the fourth box, dear. I've already told fourth box unregistered persons. You need to mention it over there. But currently we have talked about what for the B2CL and export with payment and without payment. For small invoices, it will come. Wait, it is going to come down the line. Then what is IceGate? Nandini is asking. The IceGate is the channel through which you will get the refunds. IceGate is linked with customs and through portal. See over here, you can see there is a link as well to go to the IceGate. Okay. Sayali, your question is very specific. I would prefer that you mention it in the question forum. It's not currently related with the topic that we are dealing into. Okay, so I'm not taking it right now. Now it's an export detail. I'm going to feed. What are mandatory, what are not mandatory? Please do take care. This is something practical problem we face. Let's suppose I have done an export transaction on 30th July. So I have raised my tax invoice. What does the law says? When you are required to raise a tax invoice as soon as my goods are going to move out my factory gate, I am bounded to raise a tax invoice. So let's suppose I have raised a tax invoice and the number is 055. Invoice date is 27th July. Now this is port code, shipping bill number, shipping bill date. From where do you get this information? You get this information from the shipping bill. When you will get the shipping bill and from where you will get this shipping bill? Once your goods reach the port, from where you are going to make the exports, over there, the shipping bill number is issued, shipping bill is issued to you. Once the good will start moving. So that shipping bill date is obviously different from your invoice date. Because generally it takes a time of 2 to 3 days for taking your goods from your office till the customs port, and from there your shipping bill get issued. Now what can happen is that my invoice was of 27 July, but now my goods have reached to the port today, which is 1st of August. Today is Sunday, my things will get dispatched tomorrow. So on 2nd August, I will have the shipping bill detail. But I am thinking of filing my GST return today only. That is 1st August, I'm not going to wait for the 11th August to come. So these three are non-mandatory fields. I can proceed without even mentioning these details. But dear, these details are mandatory to be filled if you are doing export with payment of taxes. These three informations are matched with the IceGate information. The information which the IceGate portal will get from the customs. Customs के लिए ये information mandatory होती है. They work on this information only, the port code, the shipping bill number and shipping bill date. So they will get it mentioned. If because of any reason you don't have the information by the time of filing your GSTR1, so what you need to do is that in your next GSTR1, you are required to amend the previous export invoices and provide the correct details. Otherwise, you won't get refunds. And if you are doing export without payment of taxes, then you can go ahead because there is no refund scenario. You don't need to claim any refund, so no matching is required to be done. Okay, these information, if you have seen the bill of entry, these are very visible on the very first page, and in fact in the half page of the document, these informations are specifically mentioned. Then you will mention your total invoice value. Let's suppose I'm doing an export of 2 lakhs. So 2 lakhs, it's with or without payment. You need to consider I'm taking it with payment of taxes. So total invoices value will become 2,30,000. If it would have been without payment of taxes, then the invoice value would have been 2 lakhs because there is no GST component. By default, it's an interstate supply. Exports are always interstate. I am selecting with payment of taxes currently. I'll mention 2 lakhs. It's taking my data. Okay. So this is a guideline that has been given to you. See, very clearly mentioned. Invoices which have incorrect port code are likely to get rejected by IceGate. Invoices which don't have these details, that is shipping bill number, shipping bill date, port code, shall not be sent to the IceGate for further processing. So that is why I'm telling you, if because of any reason you have to file your returns on time, until that time you don't have these informations, please go into your next GSTR1 and get it amended. Okay. Done. It's still in progress. It's taking time. Okay, it's a processed invoice and I do back. It will get updated ASAP. Then there is amended B2B invoices. Now this is an important area to learn about. When people says in GST, you need to tell me, is revision of returns possible? My question. Okay. Okay. So getting very correct answer from everyone that there is no revision of GST return possible. Okay. So Priyanka is saying that only amendment option is there. Like TDS, we have multiple times for revision of return. Only amendment option is there. Satyan is saying like TDS, we have multiple times for a revision of return. Amendment is possible. So in GST, there is no revision. It's only amendment. Amendment can happen, and that too in the latest return. Okay. So amendment in the latest return we can do. Let's suppose I have raised a bill in April 2021. Now I want to amend that particular bill. So for doing the amendment, what I need to do is that I need to mention that particular invoice number, and then I can do the amendment in the July 2021 return. The day I came to know that this is an error I have done in my original invoice, I can come in any GSTR one and do the amendment. Also, there is a rule which says that for financial year 2021, by when I can make the amendments? Answer please. Amendment limit. What is the amendment limit? Okay, getting 30th September. Very correct. 30th September of the following year. Or Alaguji is saying before filing annual return, agreed. But till now, nothing is happening that the annual return is filed before 30th September of the following year. Okay, so for 2021, it would be 30th September 2021. By this date, I can do all the amendments. By this date, if I want to issue any credit note or debit note relating to financial year 2021, it has to be done up to this date only. Beyond that, I won't be able to do that. So if I come back to the portal, so the thing is that I need a proper invoice number if I want to make an amendment. Okay, so for this practically, if I want to see, I have to go in my previous any of the GSTR return, and then okay, only I can say. So RK Pradhanji is asking a question that custom exchange rate changes on a particular date, say on 16th of the month if invoice is raised and on 14th. RK Pradhanji, you are raising your invoices in basic INR. Your tax invoice is in dollars also agreed. So you will take the exchange rate as on the date of raising of the tax invoice. Now, when it reaches the customs, they will work according to it. But then you are saying they reaches the port on 17, then exchange rates are different. It will mismatch with ICE gate. How to deal with it? The custom portals will take the invoice values in the INR also given on your tax invoices. I have not seen any changes till date. If you have seen any changes, you can share on the question forum with me. That on the 14th, you have raised an invoice with, let's suppose, 2 lakh rupees, and then 17th, when it reaches the customs portal, you are seeing a different taxable value. Because when I raise my tax invoice, I mention both the values in INR and in euros or whatever dollars. I mentioned both. Okay, so I was seeing any of my previous return. Let me see if. Okay, I'm not aware how many bills are there? Any previous B2B invoice detail I need? If I take so I'm taking this one invoice detail and I'm going to show you how to invoice number I have to take. It's the okay, so I've taken this thing. Amended B2B invoices. So I am going to amend an invoice. The number was saying amend invoice. So when I mention the correct invoice number over there, see by default, it takes all the details that I have fed into the system. While originally filing the details, it is telling me receiver's GSTI number, receiver name, the original invoice number, invoice date. This is the revised invoice number I want to feed because I can't make the changes. So the revised or the original invoice number, if I don't want to raise a fresh invoice, I am making into the same invoice only. So I'll mention the same invoice number. But if I'm issuing a revised invoice for the original invoice, I will write here the revised invoice number. Okay. Pranavi is saying that how to add a new invoice which was not filed in the previous period. So let's suppose, Pranavi, I'm filing the return for July and I have missed an invoice for the month of April. So very first box where we have input the information for the B2B sales, over there only, just go into that, add an invoice, just mention the detail of April. You will be able to feed your old invoices. There is no specific boxes for old period. It will take it into your data for the month of April. Okay. So you will mention here your revised invoice number if you want to revise. If I want to keep it the original one, I'll mention the original one only. The revised date, I want the same date because I am just making some changes in my bill. Okay. I'm just doing that. Place of supply. Let's suppose I'm changing the bill amount. I'm changing the bill amount to, let's suppose, 35,000. Doing it, or I'm changing it to 118,000. And I'm changing the taxable value here to 1 lakh. This is the change I am making. This is also possible that I am even changing the supplier name, the customer name. This option was earlier not available on the GST portal. I cannot change the GSTIN, but now I can even change the GSTIN. That means I can change the person in respect of whom I have raised the invoices. This option is also available to me now. I'm not saving this people because if I'll save, this information will go into my customer's detail and he will come back to me saying, Madam, what you have done? 20,000 ka bill, you have made it for 1 lakh. Okay, I'm not saving it. Got this thing, how to make the changes? Okay. Okay. RK Pradhanji is saying a question that we cannot change e-invoice. How this amendment will be made? There is no such thing, RK Pradhanji, that you cannot change a e-invoice. So when you are raising a e-invoice, I have customers who have e-invoicing thing mandatory for them. So when they raise a e-invoice, it's coming through their e-invoice portal directly into their GSTR one. Now and those customers are those, obviously their number of transactions is more than 500. So I have to go with the offline utility. So what I'm doing currently is that I'm telling you my practical solution that I have opted, because if the invoices are more than 500, actually that customer is having around 1500 invoices every month. Okay, so when it is 1500 invoices, getting that thing that what is the actual invoice data and what they have actually fed into the e-invoice portal and what is the mismatch, it becomes difficult for me. If I get the thing that these are the 5 invoices which have been wrongly fed, so when I import the data of the GSTR1, GSTR1 will get the data automatically from the e-invoice portal. I go to the offline part of the GSTR1, download the JSON file which is already there into my offline utility. So when we will doing the offline utility, you will also see how to download the existing data on the portal. I download the existing data on the portal, then I determine these are the invoices which are required to be changed, and then I amend in the offline utility only, and then they get uploaded. Okay. So now Ketan is saying that if the option of amendment is available, then what's the need for the debit and credit note option? Ketan, amendment is eligible only when you have done any clerical error while issuing the tax invoice, or you have issued a correct tax invoice and then you want to rectify it. So that is an amendment. Debit and credit note is something happening because of the kind of contract you have entered into the party. It's a sales return, it's a discount, or it's a supplementary invoice. You cannot go into the back date and make the changes in the invoice itself. It has to be supported with a credit or debit note. Okay. Now Partha is saying that in case of export sales return, do we still need to raise credit note or we show it in import purchases in GST return? No, Partha, how you will show it into import purchases? It's not your import purchases. You have to declare a credit note. There has to be a credit note in case of that. It will be supported by the credit note document, your export sales return. Okay, so I'm not saving it, I'm just coming back. Then amended B2C large, similar to B2B. If there is any amendment in your B2C bill that is above 2.5 lakhs, mention the invoice number here. Similarly, you can make the changes. Then there is amended export invoices. If you want to make any amendment in your export invoice, any clerical error that you have done, mention the invoice number here and then you can make the amendments. Okay. Then amended credit and debit notes registered. So in the column, in the box 3, we have fed the information of the credit and the debit note. Now you want to amend the information of the credit or the debit note already fed. This is very practical. It happens you have already issued a credit note and then you suddenly realize that you have fed a wrong credit note information. Then you can update it through this boxes. It's also same. See, there is not much difference in this. It's exactly the same. Just mention it, you will get the same box and you can amend it. Then amended debit credit notes unregistered. So you have made a debit credit note for unregistered here. If you want to make any amendment, you can do it here. People understand one thing. Amendment can be done of which debit credit note which have been already mentioned in any of the previous GSTR1. If there is something you are mentioning in this GSTR1, mention the correct details here. It will take the data only of those debit credit notes which have been already mentioned in your previous GSTR1s. Okay. And then Nandini is asking difference between amendments and revision. Nandini, these are amendments. If I have to change or rectify any clerical mistake into the data that I have fed into the system previously. Revision means rate revision. Like I was into a contract with my party and I decided that my rate would be 5 rupees per unit. But now I'm saying that my rate would be 6 rupees per unit. There is a rate revision and my customer has even agreed upon it. Practical reasons, like currently the petrol rates have increased, because of which I'm saying that, okay, my transport cost will increase. I want a rate revision in my bills. So if the customer agrees, I will raise a debit note. That cannot be done through amendment in the previous bills raised because it's not a clerical error. It's a factual error. not an error, factual thing that is happening. So this is the first portion that is filled. And then we come to this other details. Now this will cover your details for the small things like your B2C. 2.5 lakhs, sales above 2.5 lakhs, we have fed here. Now, if you have made sales to unregistered customers, that is below 2.5 lakhs each, you will mention it here. Other than e-commerce, those customers to whom you have made sales without e-commerce portal. You need to mention here place of supply, let's suppose Bihar, the taxable value. It will come here. And then you need to select the rate. Okay. Now this information is not bill wise. This is state wise. I will determine for this particular month, July. First, I'll take out the data. Which are the sales relating to unregistered customers and which is below 2.5 lakhs. I'll take out that data. Then I will bifurcate that data state wise and rate wise. So if in Bihar, I have made sales for 18% and I have made sales for 28% also. So there will be two entry, one for 18% and one for 28%. Getting my point? And accordingly, we will fill up. So this detail is not bill wise, it is state wise and rate wise. Done? So we mention it here. Then nil rated supplies. Yesterday we have done the nil rated supplies or your exempt supplies. Both are mentioned here. Nil rated, exempted, other than nil rated, and non-GST supply, non-GST supply. So all the three supplies you are going to mention it here. It even gives you a bifurcation. It is intrastate, it is interstate, it is to registered persons, it is to non-registered persons. Even if it is to registered person, it is not going to ask you to provide with the bifurcation, bill-wise detail. It is not going to ask because over here there is no GST involvement, so government is not bothered to whom you are making those sales. So whatever you are going to mention it here, it will automatically get updated in your GSTR 3B first table, table 3, 3.1. If you remember, clauses A, B, C, D, E, 5 clauses are there. So this will get automatically transferred from this to your GSTR 3B. Okay. Then there is tax liability on advances received. Okay. Now I want to know from you people that on what sales is GST attracted if it is an advance sales. I can receive advances for supply of goods and for supply of services. Tell me where I can get this GST involvement, on which advances. So people are both. Okay, Partha is saying on both the advances there would be GST. Ketan is saying services. Very different answers. So earlier when you had the GST law came into existence initially, the GST was required to be paid on advances on both, on goods and services both. Now with the notification, this thing was changed and now the advances attract GST only in the cases of services. If you are receiving advances for goods, it don't attract. But for services, if you are receiving the advances, it will attract. Wait a minute. Just opening the PPTs for you. Wait a minute. Just one more minute. So this is the second PPT which you people will get. Okay, sorry, screen is visible. The next second PPT, is it available to you, visible to you? So the nil rated supplies, I have mentioned it here. So this is the nil rated supplies data you will get. Then there is tax liability on the advances received. So if you have GST liability on account of the advances received, you will mention it here in this particular column. If I'll go on the portal, this is the advances received. I am a service provider. If I have any advances received, this detail also is required to be provided state-wise. It's not talking about customer-wise, state-wise, I'll provide with the detail that I have received a advance and I'll mention it. Let's suppose my place of supply is Delhi only, intrastate. I'll mention the gross advance received. Let's suppose I have received an advance of lakh rupees. I'll mention it and I'll do save. So this is the advance that I have received and I'm liable to pay taxes right now on the date of receipt of advance. But in the case of goods, it's not the case. If you are receiving advances for goods, you are liable to pay taxes only when you will issue your final tax invoice. Whereas as a service provider, I have paid taxes on my advance. After 2 months, if I'm going to raise my final invoice, and let's suppose my final invoice is going to be of 3 lakh rupees. So on 3 lakh rupees, whatever is my tax liability, I'll pay the balance liability in that particular 3B for that month. It's for the July month, I have received an advance of 1 lakh rupees. So my 3B is going to include these details. And when I'm going to file the 3B for the month of September, when I'm going to materialize my actual invoice, I'll show that actual invoice value 3 lakhs less the advances, the GST deducted, GST already paid on the advances received. That is on rupees 1 lakh. I'm going to pay the balance. तो जब आपने यहाँ पे advances दिखा दिया, you have to do the adjustment of advances also. Okay. So this is your tax liability, advances received, and this is your adjustment of advances. So I'll mention, I have to give a proper thing that what advance has already been paid and this is my adjustment. So I'm going to adjust, this was in Delhi, supply type, and what advance amount I am adjusting. So I'm again mentioned I'm adjusting what, lakh rupees. So I'll mention here lakh rupees, and this provided it's generally done for a different period. It's not done in the same period, that in the same period I'm receiving an advance and in the same period I'm adjusting my advance. Then instead of showing advances and adjustment, I'll show a tax invoice when it is done in the same month. So you need to show what the adjustment you are doing in this month. The advances are received in any other month, adjustments are done in any other month, and you will raise the invoice in this month. So I received an advance in April. I am doing adjustment in July. So April will have the entry of GST on advances received. July will have an entry of adjustment of advances and a B2B tax invoice. These three transactions will flow like this. Now Dhanashri is asking that if I received advance for export of services. First thing, Dhanashri, if it is export of services and you have applied for an LUT, you are not liable to pay taxes. It is exempted now. So there is no liability on you to make the payment of taxes on advances for export of services, provided you have an LUT. Okay. So once you do that, this is your adjustment and advances. Then there is HSN wise summary. If you will go into the PPT, tax liability, advance received, the same things, all the screenshots are there. Then there is adjustment of advances. Okay, so HSN wise summary. So HSN code of outward supplies you need to mention. You need to give a description of the outward supplies. UQC drop down. UQC is the unit of measurement. For goods, it is maybe kgs, maybe liters, meters, whatever. For services, it comes under others. Pranavi, you are raising this query second time now. Your query is very specific. I would like to take it on the question forum. Currently, we are running out of time. I need to finish this GSTR 1 today and it is a little bit different. So please send it on the question forum. Okay. Now, Sayali is asking that how mandatory it is to fill the HSN details. Sayali, what I exactly remember is that I need to update that there was recently there was a notification which made mandatory the filing of GST details, this HSN details for certain taxpayers. There is a limit for whom it is mandatory, and the limit is like for this to this turnover, these codes of HSN code is mandatory. These number HSN code is your 8-digit code. तो किसी के लिए 6, किसी के लिए 8, किसी के लिए 4. They have given it by a notification कि इसके लिए इतना fill करना mandatory होता है. So I will share that notification that HSN code for whom with what turnover is mandatory. I'll share that in today's data only when it is going to come to you. See, if you don't fill up the HSN data, there is not going to be a penalty, but there is going to be a harassment from the department. What will happen is that you have not filled the HSN data. Now your sales data is not matching with your HSN detail, and the government even do this matching. To give you a more in-depth that why this HSN matters, I'll tell you what is happening, why this HSN details are mandatory. Now let's suppose I am a dealer of goods and I am dealing in goods like, let's say I am into stationery business. Okay, I'm dealing into stationery items. So what kind of items I'm going to sell? It will be books, pens, erasers, might be laptops, computers, and papers. This will be my output. So my HSN summary will contain the details of these outputs only. When I'm mentioning my sale data in B2B box, I'm not mentioning what item I'm selling. It's only the values which are coming there. But in the HSN summary, I'm giving an entire summary to the department that I am selling these particular items. Now what the government does is that it sees your HSN summary, the sales you have made. Similar HSN summary is on account of your purchases being made, right? So if your purchases show that you are making a purchases from a dealer who is into the business of, let's say, let's take a very different area, sanitary items. You are making purchases from a dealer who is into sanitary items and you are making the sale of stationery items. Both the HSN codes are haywire, totally different. Now the department will come back to you and say, you are making purchases of sanitary items, you are making sale of stationery items, how that is possible? Show me the purchase of stationery items. Where is it? Right? R.K. Pradhanji is saying that HSN field is mandatory, so we cannot leave it blank. Agreed, R.K. Pradhanji, but prior to 3-4 months back, people were leaving it blank. This notification came in the recent past only where it was made mandatory, and it even mentioned for which turnover, how many digits are mandatory. For, lesser turnover, they are not saying that we need a complete 8-digit code. They have even came for the 4-digit code. So that is the notification I'll share. But prior to that, people were not mentioning the HSN details. I think it was 1.5 crores. If your turnover is less than 1.5 crores, you were not under the mandatory requirement to furnish the HSN details. But this I'm talking 4-5 months back before to the issuance of that notification. And this is a genuine case. I am already into that. I'm handling a case of my SSE who is into the stationery business, but then there were certain inputs flowing to him from the people who were not at all into the stationery market. And this was the reason which invoked his case. The department came back with the notice. So that is why HSN summary is important. Government is making it important. So when you mention the HSN summary, you mention the HSN code. Let's currently I'm not remembering any of the HSN code. Any idea? Can anyone help me with any HSN code? See this, this is very technical, clerical thing that I never do in my office. So I'm not aware about the HSN numbers. Let's suppose I'm just mentioning this, okay? Okay, so people have came with an HSN code 6302. So 6302, as you mentioned, so there came with a bifurcation. I'm mentioning this. By default, it will take the description. If I am selling cotton, the cotton might be in kgs. So I'm mentioning kgs. Total quantity, what was the total quantity being sold in that period? Let's suppose 500 kgs I'm selling. Your taxable value you need to mention, then you need to mention the rate, integrated taxes and state taxes. You need to mention everything. Now remember, now this detail is HSN wise, rate wise. It's not state wise, it's not bothered about state. It is HSN wise and rate wise. So if for a particular rate you have made intrastate and interstate both the sales, then you have to make this information. Now Nandini is asking a very practical question that she has hundreds of products. Should I mention those 1,000 products in the HSN summary? Yes, Nandini. You cannot avoid it. It cannot be said that I have 1,000 products. I have people who have 5,000 products, 6,000 products. They maintain the entire HSN summary. So that is why when I talk about bigger organizations or bigger amount of transactions, so if you are into a departmental store, obviously your transactions will be ranging from 100 rupees to 10,000, 15,000 rupees also. Their range and multiple transactions would have been a particular day. So first thing, your software needs to be strong to handle every single entry. Then your software should be able to give you all the entire data into Excel workings. And then your hands on the Excel workings should be very strong. Because if your software is strong, see whatever software you're using, and it is giving me the entire output properly, then it's only minutes task. Copy pasting here, then you need to apply your pivot tables, you need to apply your filters, and you will get your exact data. Okay, there will not be a lot of issue which will be faced by you. Okay, fine. So let's move forward. So once you fill up the HSN detail, and please do take your care. I'm telling you again that your HSN details are matching with your total details, be it taxable values, B2C, credit note, debit note, do all the netting of it, the entire summary, right? You should have the entire summary and the HSN summaries total should be equivalent to that. So that is why I say GSTR 1 filing is quite difficult as compared to GSTR 3B filings. A lot of things have to be considered. Okay. So back, it's giving me an error message. And accordingly, I can fill up my HSN summary details. Then there is document issued. This is also very important detail. People do miss it. Still, there is no such penalties being described, or I have never seen any imposition of penalty. But this is a mandatory requirement to be filled. What all documents you have issued during the period. So let's suppose for outward supply, my tax invoices, I have issued 15 documents during the entire July month. But out of those 15, I have cancelled 3 invoices. So my B2B sales box, that is my first box, will contain details of 12 invoices only. It's not going to contain 15. Over here, I will mention that I have issued 15 invoices, 3 are cancelled, and net issued is this. Okay, so then I'll mention it. Perfect. There is invoice for outward supply. Invoice for outward supply will include tax invoices, will include your bill of supply as well, because it's an invoice for your outward supply. If I'll say add document, this to this, serial number, and this. Obviously, we are going to maintain a separate series for tax invoices and bill of supply, so you can mention. And you will mention here proper number. I don't mention 51 to 60. I mention DAA/2120, whatever is my number I'm writing. I mention it properly. So then there is invoices for inward supply from unregistered person. If there is inward supply is happening from unregistered person, there are many invoices. I am required under the GST law, if there is any such supply happening, to issue a there is a challan kind of thing. I'm just missing it out, that document name. I have to issue an invoice for every purchases from the unregistered person. So I get it done with my customers. Whenever I get the data, I maintain a separate list of all the purchases being made from the unregistered person. Get that thing done, get them arranged in a chronological order, and then you can issue that invoices numbers. RK Pradhanji saying, is it RCM invoice? It was similar to that, RK Pradhanji. I don't know why it is slipping out of my mind. That was RCM 94. So when the GST invoice, GST law came initially, it was RCM under section 93 and 94. 93 we have already discussed, that's a mandatory RCM thing. 94 section said that if you are making any purchases from any unregistered person, you are liable to pay reverse charge. But this section got deferred, got postponed, and currently it is still deferred, it's not applied, but the requirement of issuance of a document is still there. So that is the document which is required to be issued. Then if you are raising any revised invoices, you need to mention here your debit notes, credit notes, your receipt voucher. Receipt voucher is issued in the case of that unregistered person only. So the time I am receiving the goods, I raise a receipt voucher. Then there is payment voucher. I'm making the payments, for that I issue a payment voucher. Refunds, if there is any refund being done. Delivery challan for job work. If you're sending on goods on for job work, you are required to issue a delivery challan. This entire delivery challan thing is also covered by your ITC 04. It's a return specifically meant for goods sent on job work and their return. So that is covered here. Then delivery challan for supply on approval. Supply on approval, you might be getting like samples. I am sending samples to my customers to get it approved. Then it comes back to me. These things are also issued on your delivery challan. Then delivery challan in case of liquid gas, it's a specific case if you have issued. Then if a delivery challan is there out of any of the conditions mentioned above. Nimisha, yes, ITC 4 is mandatory. But see, since the beginning of the GST law, when ITC 4 came, what has happened is that people aren't filing it. Government is giving multiple deadlines. And I think in between, government in the between said that I abolished the returns ITC 04 for a specific period. I remember because I am filing ITC 04 regularly with my clients. Okay. And when it did not get filed, I used to get, it's a complex return, ITC 04. It does not get updated. I don't get the proper data from my clients. Then I have to amend it. Okay. So this is how we get the data filled for this thing. Document issued ho gaya. Then you have amended tax liability. So this is adjustment of advances. This is tax liability advances received. Then there is amended tax liability. Like I want to amend now the advances received. We have done amendment for B2B invoices. Then for B2C invoices, B2CL, debit notes, credit notes. Now, if you want to amend the advance received also, you can link it. This was the column where we have mentioned the advances received. If by mistake you have mentioned something wrong in this, then this is the column where you can amend it. And similarly, if you have done anything wrong in adjustment of advances, this is the box where you can do the amendment of adjustment of advances. This is complex. This is technical, and I believe with the practical experience, you will get that. It actually gets difficult to determine what was the exact advance and what was the exact adjustment of advances. So this has to be very proper. Okay, these are the amendments things available to you. And this is amendment B2C others. That B2C which we have fed state-wise and rate-wise. Remember, B2C bills less than 2.5 lakh rupees are fed in B2C. And if you want to do any amendment in this, then it has to be done here. Okay, getting? And we say back. And this is how your entire GSTR1 gets filled. You can click here to create a summary. Your summary file will be created. The summary displayed is as on 10/8. So the system by default has generated a summary at this time. If I want the same summary report, I can click it. But if I want the fresh summary, it will be developed in 1 minute. Now it is available. Wait a minute. Okay, now it is giving me the updated message. The summary displayed as on 10/26. So if I'll click here, wait. ये तो e-invoices का details है. E-invoices मेरे पास नहीं है. Sorry, this cannot be generated. I am not mandatorily under this e-invoicing thing. So my summary is now generated. Everything is updated. That was already updated. I have not fed in anything into my return now. Preview. If I want to preview what I have filled. So this is now the latest GSTR summary. So I'll get this. You can view it as well. Everything, all the information what I have fed. Now this is the updated GST summary sheet. You will download it once you have done this GSTR1 summary. It is updated summary now. If you would have downloaded it before doing that, तो जो मेरी पहली summary generate हुई थी 10:08 पे, it would have downloaded me in that. It comes in PDF format. Okay. If I'll say I acknowledge and I'll do submit, I'm not going to do that, then I'm able to submit my data. This is the reset button. If I want to reset whatever is filled into my GSTR1, I can reset it. Reset is a very important button that they have given. Why? When the data is coming from my e-invoicing or from my e-way portal and I want to make changes, and making changes is difficult rather than feeding the entire data on my own, I can do this. I'd go for reset and submit the entire details again. Okay. And then once you submit it, then your option for e-filing is available. If I'll show you, wait a minute. This was the 3B. See that we have done all this. So this was once you do submit it and then you can file it. And thereafter, this is the again GSTR summary. It shows to you. You can go ahead with the filing of return. Same. You need to tick it, authorize signatory, file with DSC and EBC. Same rules applicable for a company in LLP DSC, and otherwise you can file it with ESC. Again, I maintain this data with me. I'm suggesting you all should also maintain the acknowledgement reference number. I maintain it along with the date of filing. Thereafter, the status is uploaded, filed. when you go to this download box, so whatever you have, you can download it as well. Okay. Now this is something IFF, which I was telling you, IFF is required to be filled in case of quarterly return filers, which are under the QRMP. I've mentioned over here, if we can go through it very fastly, that it's an optional facility. There is no late fees if you don't file it, but you can get messages from your customers that we are not able to see the credit flowing into my return. The invoices relating to the last month of a quarter will go into GSTR1. Told you already that IFF is meant for the first 2 months of the quarter. If you have uploaded the invoices in GSTR1, there is no requirement to upload invoices in GSTR1 if you have already uploaded in IFF. So at one place only you can mention. The total value of invoices that can be uploaded per month is restricted to rupees 50 lakhs. Now this is a restriction in IFF. IFF quarterly is available if your income is up to 5 CR annually. So they have taken 5 CR annually. So per month your sale is not going to be more than 50 lakhs. So this is the limit that they have put. That per month you cannot upload data beyond 50 lakhs. And if this is going to happen, for example, there are people who have sales only limited to 1 month or 2 months for the entire year. They can't go for it. They won't be able to upload their data. The details submitted in IFF will be reflected in 2A and 2B of the recipients. And then IFF will come, it came into effect from 1st February. And the first cutoff date was 13th February for January 21. That was the first cutoff date. Okay, IFF facility, it's the same. What you can furnish, B2B invoices you can furnish, credit notes towards B2B invoices and amendments in the credit debit notes or the B2B invoices. So that is only B2B things will get uploaded over here. It is important to note that taxpayer should upload all B2C invoices for the quarter in the GSTR1. It cannot come into your IFF. Okay. So this is again, see, I can't show this to you practically because I am not into IFF. I am a monthly filer, so this option is not available to me. So that is why I have given you step-by-step guide. How do you need to fill it? So it has all the screenshots that how do you do it. Once you go into the IFF, if you are a quarterly filer, then you have process of filing required details in IFF is similar as filing of GSTR1. You will get these things only visible to you and you can file it. Similar what we have done, there is no difference. It's exactly the similar. So that is why I attached the screenshots to you. You can view it. If you have noticed, GSTR1 में ऊपर लिखा था GSTR1/IFF. So if I would have opted for a quarterly filing, then it would be showing me the boxes for IFF only, not for the one. So this is how we are doing this IFF thing. Okay, so today we have completed with the online return filing of GSTR1. Still we are left with offline. I'm not picking it up today because already it's time, and if I'll pick it up, it will take another hour, not less than that. Okay, these PPTs, everything will be shared to you, all the data relating to yesterday's class and today's class. I'm going to share it with the Tax Guru people today only. So hopefully by tomorrow, every one of you will get everything. Yes, you will. Sayali is asking download of the PPT. Yes, I'll be sharing the PPTs with you. You can download it from there. RK Pradhanji is asking the subject for the next class. So next class, first is this offline filing of GSTR1. And then we are going to do, we can go ahead with the E-way billing, because E-way billing, somehow the data is similar to your GSTR1. You will be able to relate well. And after the E-way bill, we will take LUT for the Saturday class. So these three things in the Saturday class. Sunday, we will go ahead with ITC forms and the refund forms. Fine. Chalo. So have a nice day, people. Enjoy your Sunday. Exam, Nandini, it will happen after the completion of the course. You will be provided with 10-15 days to prepare, and then the exam will happen. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.